So hi, welcome to iZoggy again. And in this video, I'll try to teach you how to analyze an infographic. By an infographic, I mean pie charts and bar charts and line graphs and all. This task one video does not specifically refer to, or maybe mostly, or maybe to a large extent refer to maps and diagrams. So they would require other kinds of inputs to be, analyzed or something. But this one is specifically for the infographics, the data-driven images. Now, one thing is that you do not have to be a Shakespeare. You do not have to be any kind of mastermind to be able to analyze such a thing. It's all about logic here. The task achievement part, the first one, where you have to present data, where you have to summarize things, where you have to select and report the main features or something. It's all about being rational, it's all about being logical, and it's all about knowing what to do. You see, as in, suppose you have a shop and you're asked what you are sold, in one line, then of course you should not be talking about the individual items. Maybe you should not be, suppose mine is a shop related to groceries, so I would not say I sell salt, sugar, lentils or something of that sort. I would just say that mine is a grocery shop if someone wants an answer in a nutshell or something. But if he has asked for details or something, then I would give him the details or something. So, this question is specifically based on an instruction that you have to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features. So try not to get too, I would say, elaborate in your explanations. Try not to get too, I would say, detailed in what you are writing. It's all about presenting something in the vicinity of 150 words. Now, again, about the logic thing, as in how you analyze a chart of this sort. See, as in whatever the perfect version is for your presentation, you should select it for the given infographic. If you have 2 years, of course, if someone gives you 2 years, you have to go about it, comparing both. You have, if someone has given you two things, he or she is expecting that you will take both into account and then present something comprehensive. But one sec, I should enlarge this pic. But if someone has asked you something that is just related to one scenario, then of course he's not, he or she is not expecting any kind of comparison or trends or something. Of course the comparisons have to be there, but they will be related to the components of that one particular point only. So be just about what you have to tell to the examiner. That is the most logical thing, that is the most, I would say, um, understandable thing. Suppose you have two pie charts comparing five categories in 2010 and 2020. If he has given you 2 points, then of course he's expecting a comparison between the five categories in the 2 years. He is not asking for what was the maximum thing and the minimum thing in either of the years. It's all about a trend here. And of course you cannot tell everything about one particular thing. You have to be very specific in your, very logical in your crux, in your nutshell, because it's about summarizing, and summarizing is all about telling what the most appropriate thing is. It's not about telling everything. Of course you can tell the maximum and the minimum for the charts, taking one at a time, but would that make any sense in a summary? No, that would be too enlarged. But if you have only one picture, as I said before, it should be about the extremes. Let's take two charts and try to, I would like to expound on my whatever I have told you up to this point, and I think that will make things clearer. Now if you see this infographic, take some time and analyze it. So you could have paused the video, and you can do it now. You can pause the video and look at it with an analytical perspective. So with an analytical lens, maybe. So if you see the first chart below shows how energy is used in an average Australian household. The second chart shows the greenhouse gas emissions which result from this energy use. And if you see, so the categories are the same, I guess. Yep. So, but again, if you see, when you talk about making a pudding out of something, and when you talk about using it in a salad, maybe two, three items, then the salad components should be within themselves, and the pudding components should be within themselves. It's not about comparing a pudding with a salad. The same is the case here. Despite the fact that the categories are the same in regard to what the pie charts want to convey, it's all about being specific at a point and talking about the energy use at one point and the emissions thing at the other point. If you take both into, you know, into one context or something, that is going to sound awkward. As in, if you do some, of course there are multiple ways to do a task, but when you're writing an exam, you have to be specific. You have to go by the rules of one book so that you're not confused at a point when you are not able to decide on what to choose and what not to. As in, my strategy is that I try to write things in a simple way. I try to write things distinctively so that the examiner, you know, takes an instant shine to it. It's not about showing off complexity. It's all about writing something that has been asked. So what I would do is that I would keep Australian household energy use for one paragraph and Australian household greenhouse gas emissions for the other. About the you know, overview thing, of course, if you have been asked about the um, you know, overall comparison in the overview, of course, when you talk about suppose someone asks me what is Delhi about, I would say, as in I'm not very privy to what this city is all about, but I could say that it has South Delhi that is very rich and it has some areas that are poverty, you know, stricken. So, but I will not talk about each component that pertains to Delhi. So is the case here in the overview. I'll talk about the extremes, the lower limit and the, you know, upper limit. Maybe that this category is the maximum and that category is the minimum. And I will write the same for the uh, greenhouse gas emissions thing. And in the body paragraphs, I'll discuss the first chart first. And in the second body paragraph, I'll discuss the second one. Nothing beyond that. About the introduction, see, if you have to get a, see the introduction in either of the tasks, maybe either it's writing task one or writing task two, it's hardly anything that is going to contribute to your score, because task achievement or task response, you know, do not have any specific points for an introduction. It's all about you know, explanations, summarizing and all. So if you're not comfortable writing, if you do not have every synonym in the word, it's okay to repeat words from the given prompt. You can write the first, maybe the first pie chart, maybe pie graph, illustrates or something, but don't give too much emphasis on, you know, this paraphrasing thing. It's just gonna waste your time. Try to analyze the picture first. Let's have a look at the second one. Pause the video and try to analyze the picture. I hope you did so. If you didn't, I'm gonna show it slowly. Now, if you see, this chart is a bit, I would say, um, multifarious. It has a lot to tell. But of course, would you like to discuss coffee with bananas? No. And if you see, if he's given you data that pertains to 2 years, you know, you should actually be making comparisons between the 2 years, because otherwise it would seem futile to give them side by side, the 2 years. So of course, here you should talk about that in the UK, the figure was this and it became that for sure. Right now, if you write in 1999, the highest figure was this and the lowest was that. And in 2004, this and that. In for bananas, you know, if you continue in the same way, that's going to sound a bit awkward, because if you could have, when you are given 2 years, you actually should be talking about how the figures underwent any kinds of increases or decreases. You should not be focusing on the extremes, because it's not static. In the overview, you can talk like 1 sec, 1 2 6 1 2. Now you can simply say that for, coffee in each of the countries there was an increase. For bananas there was an increase in 3 countries, and in two there was a decrease, and that would be, an awesome overview. You should not be doing anything extra in that. And then in one body paragraph you can talk about coffee, that how it maybe increased or decreased from one year to the other. And so is the case with bananas in the second body paragraph. And what you're going to get is a very sexy, I would say, task achievement. I think that's all. As in, if you like this video, do give it a, I request you to give it a like or something and share it with someone who needs this. Bye.